Well, the City of Johannesburg will no longer sit to debate the motion of no confidence against the mayor. This, of course, follows the resignation of Thapelo Amad as the city's executive mayor. Amad's resignation means those appointed by him in the executive will also have to vacate their positions. Well, joining us to tell us what this means is Colleen Makhubele, Speaker of Council at the City of Johannesburg. Colleen, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us in our studios. As I've mentioned in that introduction, Thapelo Amad's resignation has triggered a slew of other implications and ramifications for the city. What is next for the council?
Thank you, Ntokozo, and thank you for having me. Let me first start by, of course, passing our condolences to the families of the young kids that were brutally killed, mutilated, and one, again, yesterday was hit by a bus around the same spot. We are praying for them and their families. As the City of Johannesburg, we are once again back here where we are going to be selecting a new mayor next week, Tuesday. What does it mean? As soon as the mayor resigns, effectively then all the executives fall off, and it means that the city manager now takes over all the administrative processes between myself and the city manager. If there are any critical decisions that would have required council, we will be able to sit down and make those decisions. And I think it's important for the residents to understand that service delivery proceeds. There will be no interruptions in service delivery because the city manager oversees all of those departments, all of those functions of refuse collection, cleaning up, and provision of water, power, etc. There should be no interruptions. What you are going to see is the delay in some of the decisions that were supposed to have been approved in council yesterday, and some of the urgent decisions, of course, that might prop up that need council between now and next week, Tuesday. But if anything is truly urgent, the legislation gives myself power and the city manager to sit down and make those decisions that might be crucial and need to be made.
The themes of instability and chaos have become synonymous with local government, both in Johannesburg and in Tshwane. Thapelo Amad was at pains last night to, make sure that Joburg residents know that he wasn't in any way running away from the motion of no confidence that he was set to face today. But one has to ask the question, why then? The coalition had such confidence in the show of support and the show of strength and resilience that we were supposed to see today at that vote. Why not go through with what was originally set down as a part of the program?
Look,
why resign?
I think the resignation came from a series of negotiation and talks. And we as the minorities, were in full support of Thapelo and the rest of the coalition partners. And he just felt coming out of that whirlwind of storm, the city perhaps needed somebody with fresh ideas, new ideas, who look at things differently. And even in his remarks yesterday at the briefing session, he did say that he felt he had given it his best shot, he had run his race, and he didn't feel that he had the stamina to continue again. But he remains a councillor. He remains in the City of Johannesburg, engaged, politically engaged, in the running of council. And we'll see whether or not he gets deployed somewhere else where he might want to serve. But we just felt as a coalition as well that, these political parties that are bringing instability in the City of Johannesburg through this overdose of motions, and Herman Mashaba, Michael Bermond going all out, trying to interrupt and disrupt this coalition from the good work that has been happening. And I think it was deliberately made to interrupt the executive mayor and his executives. And it was, I think, a very noble decision from Thapelo Amad to say, in the midst of all of this, let me take attention away from the coalition and what the coalition was doing, because the attack was mainly on him as a person, as an individual. And very courageous, putting the interest of the coalition and the residents before him, feeling, let me step away, let me deal with all of this on the sidelines and allow the coalition to continue to provide the services. Because you look at his legacy, if you're honest, you know, you would have seen that the team of MMCs that he had around him were hard at work, you know, on the basic things that needed to be done. Grass was being cut. You would have seen roads were being fixed, storm waters was being fixed, informal settlement were being addressed, you know, crime and cleaning of the streets was being addressed. And you can see that in the 3 months that he's been there, there was so much progress that I don't think it set well with the opposition, and they needed to interrupt and disrupt what we were doing, but focusing on him as a person. And he had to take that as a team player for the rest of us to say, let me step aside, deal with this. You guys continue, elect somebody else that you might find will take us, you know, to the future in continuance with the GLU or Government of Local Unity priorities that we have set up as a coalition.
I think, Colleen, you'll agree that it is a fair criticism to say that as selfless as his intentions were in removing himself from the optics of what was happening in the city of Johannesburg, his decision ultimately has left the city of Johannesburg without an executive. And that in and of itself has plunged the city into a sense of instability. But I want to move on to this. You yourself were supposed to face a motion of no confidence today. Do you still have confidence that when that vote rolls around come the 2nd of May next week, that, you know, that vote will swing in your favor?
Certainly, but let me address this first. I think it's not Thapelo Amad, you know, who swung the city into where we find ourselves today. The motion of no confidence came from Action SA. It came from the DA. And either way, if he was going to be removed out of the motion or resigning, I don't see the difference. He just saved all of us that whole rigmarole. And in fact, he saved the city of Johannesburg maybe over 500,000 rand of expenditure in calling a council meeting to look at motions. What for? We might as well call council, elect a new mayor, and then get on with the business of the day so that we don't have to go through that whole drama, because these political leaders are just after media attention, nothing else. It's just media attention seeking for relevance, which is really what we are not about. When it comes to my motion, frivolous as it is, and you ask yourself, what is in that motion really that holds water? Nothing. Once again, it's there for them to come to the media and say we've got a motion of no confidence on the speaker, etc. And it will not hold because they don't have the numbers. And this is the waste of time. Action has been
quite vocal about your politics, Colleen, because you say that the motion doesn't hold any water. They've been quite vocal about your politics, using words such as unethical, unprincipled. These are serious accusations to level at another politician who holds such a powerful position in the city.
And in fact, let me answer that, because that's pretty correct. What is the definition of unethical? When you are booked off, I had an operation that I was booked off until the 10th of April. I only got to the office last week, basically. And in my sick leave, I went to attend a matter of agency for my party in Tshwane. What is unethical about that? Can they prove that in the court of law? And this is where we are going with them, to the court of law to prove it, because there's defamation of character. And I hate that you media always take the gospel of D and Action SA as truth, because it's the first time you're asking me about this as media to say, what is this unethical and unprincipled? You tell me, if it was a white woman who went to do work while I had a hysterectomy, serious operation, I was supposed to be booked off even now, I'm back at work, I would be hailed as somebody that is hardworking, put work first, etc., as a white woman. Because you are dealing with a black woman who has to go and do party duty. And I can't sit at home the whole day when, you know, things are... If I had money, perhaps I would have been in the Bahamas recouping, you know. But I'm here. And if there's something that requires me, I will get up and go and do it and come back and recoup. And I'm not going to apologize to DA or Action SA. And that unethical and principled, they must define it, what it is. What is it that is unethical? My leave was properly submitted to council. My medical certificate is properly submitted to council. My doctor is there and he can sit in the court of law and testify to what I'm saying. You know, it's very, very dangerous, the line that they are towing now. Right. Because when you have nothing to politic about, when you have nothing against somebody that you can say, performance, etc., you did this. you then tend to want to pick on personal and private issues that you want to then label as unethical. And that's a very dangerous game that they're playing. And very soon they're going to have to answer to it.
Right. Unfortunately, we do have to leave the conversation there. But as you've mentioned, there are legal processes underway where you will be afforded an opportunity in a court of law to clear your name. And, of course, the processes that are already underway at the City of Johannesburg. We are going to have to leave that conversation there for now. Please do stay with us. On the other side of this, we have more of your leading stories.